This has been a presentation of ABC Sports, recognized around the world as the leader in sports television.
A promotional fee has been paid by Northwest Airlines.
Some people just know how to fly.
Don't go away, Wide World of Sports.
And now introducing the 5 finalists in the IOF Foresters Open. In our first game, we'll see David Traber of Woodstock, Illinois, 2-time champion. He'll face Mike Miller of Albuquerque in a battle of past PBA national champions. We welcome back, yes, the great Mark Roth. 7 years he's been away. 33 PBA titles. Brian Voss, the second seed, is a 1988 PBA Player of the Year from Atlanta. And Walter Ray Williams Jr., the PBA's newest Hall of Famer and a 2-time Player of the Year, is our tournament leader. That's our outstanding field of finalists for this afternoon's IOF Foresters Open telecast, where the total purse is $215,000. And Nelson Burton Jr., the winner's share is big.
It's a solid purse, Chris, with $45,000 on top. In second place, $25,000. Now that $215,000. Very favorable exchange rate this week, about $1.30 Canadian to $1 American. And we're ready for the first match. Two great styles.
So here on the north shore of Lake Ontario, in a fascinating, vibrant city of Toronto and a suburb called Markham, Ontario, we go with the first shot, and it'll be David Traber, 32-year-old who won in Baltimore this year. Just sort of drops and lofts it out there and left the 10-pin.
Chris, just a solid muscle player, David Traber, and he's done it very well for a number of years. Gets a good loft on the ball, and that's necessary for him because he has a very stiff-legged style. If he doesn't loft it out there, it'll bounce on the lane and not get the proper roll.
Crashing down and rolling to cover the 10-pin. So it's a mark for David Traber. Okay, we haven't seen Mike Miller for a while, the 1991 PBA national champion. He with plenty of muscle.
Another strong player, has that famed thumbless grip. Tremendous strike ball.
Good 2 follow-throughs on that one. And he got it. Let's recheck that style, Nelson.
Well, it's a style, Chris, that changes slightly because sometimes he uses his thumb. On his strike ball today, so far, he's no thumb in the ball. See how he curls the ball around his wrist, comes straight through. He must keep his arm close to his body or he would drop the ball. And really, you just can't sling the pins around any more than Mike Miller can when he's on. Look at this grip, hand underneath the ball. There it is. You see the thumb out to the side.
So we have a 2-10.
High risk, high reward delivery. He sends it a little bit wide, doesn't catch it all. He leaves the 2-10, needs to slide that 2-pin over to the area of the 10-pin to carry it out. Very common split for power players. Mike should have an idea how to get it over there.
All right. Later on, you're going to see one of the great split converters, Mark Roth. Great to have him back and on our telecast. And what a shot by Mike Miller.
You're right, Chris. About a 1/4 inch margin of error and 60-some feet down the lane. Miller nails it perfect in the second frame to stay even in the match.
Oh, pocket hit, a solid one. First strike for David Traber. This is our first match if you just joined us. We're at the Club 300 Bowl, 60 lanes here in the province of, well, not a province, but a town of Markham, 161,000 happy inhabitants, right next to Toronto.
What a lovely city.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful double by David Traber. Best this year for the man up next. Mike Miller was 6th at the AC Delco, which started our 34th season, Bo.
Yes, the AC Delco was a great tournament, and yet Mike off to kind of a slow start for him. He gets that strike ball going. He can go on tremendous hot streaks for a month or so and pile in the money.
All right. Wonderful beginning match here, where the winner will meet Mark Roth, whom we just talked about.
Mike Miller had just marginal success in the 80s on the PBA Tour with a conventional type delivery. Then he switched to the thumbless delivery, which gives him a lot more power and revolutions on the ball, won the 90 PBA National Championship, and has been doing well since.
No luck.
Well, you're right about that, Chris. No luck at all here. The ball comes in sideways almost at about a 7-degree angle of pocket. Watch what happens to the 5-pin. You see the ball impact the 1, the 3. There's the 5. He actually rips it behind the 7. Bad break. Actually too much power for Mike Miller on that shot.
Not quite as much speed. He covers the 7-pin with ease, and he trails by 10. We'll take a break and then return. As I mentioned, we're in Markham, Ontario, Canada, a suburb of Toronto, whose landmark, the CN Tower, stretches more than 1,800 feet high and offers a panoramic view of this wonderful city.
When kids come first, everyone wins. Hi, this is Marie Osmond for the IOF Foresters Bowling for Miracles Bowl-a-thon. Hospitalized kids in your community need your help, and you can do it while having fun and earning prizes, including a trip to join me at Disneyland for the Children's Miracle Network Telethon. The event is sponsored by the Independent Order of Foresters, a not-for-profit fraternal organization with more than 1 million members. Since 1874, whether it be tornado, flood, or personal tragedy, the IOF Foresters help members in times of need. IOF Foresters also support community projects that help families, such as effective parenting, free fingerprinting for children, and the Children's Miracle Network. You're invited to be a part of the IOF Foresters Bowling for Miracles. Come bowl with us. For more details, call today. Remember, a call starts you on your way to having fun while supporting your local children's hospital through the Children's Miracle Network.
Today, millions of Americans are running faster with the same size engines and farther on the same amount of fuel. Millions have discovered the patented advantages of the split-fire spark plug, a difference that delivers on every stroke of every piston. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs, a 4.8% gain in mileage. If you're not running the split-fire, you're probably behind someone who is. Split-fire, more power and more mileage for your money back.
For those of you observing Passover, we wish all of you a happy holiday. David Traber now, a double shooting in the 4th frame. A high hit, and he's left the 6-10.
Just a dead pull from Dave Traber. That stiff-legged style often causes you trouble when your slide is not quite long enough. You'll pull the ball left of the target. He gets a real good break by not leaving the 6-7-10. Cross lane at the 6-10 to maintain an 8-pin lead.
For David, it's his 13th overall telecast with a record of 11 wins, 10 losses, the .219 average. For his opponent, Mike Miller, it's his 6th and the first of 1995, but it is the 3rd for David Traber, win in Baltimore, and he was 2nd at the Tums Classic in Windsor Locks.
Traber with not quite the power of Mike Miller. It's very important right here. It's a great shot right here of the angle that the Traber is taking in the pocket. It's important that Traber get a real long follow through to keep the ball on line and not pull it towards the target. Doesn't get quite the lift, leaves the 10.
Before we went away for that commercial, we showed you the CN Tower, which was sort of a tourist item. Some people love it. Some think it's a monstrosity. But I can tell you this, that it's 1,815 feet, 5 inches high. And is the tallest structure in the world, freestanding structure. They're taller, but with guide wires, I'm told, though.
Must be fun in a windstorm, pal. All right, Mike Miller just avoids the 310 split again here in the 5th frame, gets away with just the 2 to shoot at. No problem. He will trail by 9 pins, make that 8 pins. And this guy can start stringing them at any time, Chris. He's always been a slow starter, can finish games with a lot of strikes.
Next Saturday on ABC, the Professional Bowlers Tour rolls into Illinois for our season's final event. Defending champion Norm Duke takes aim to defend his title at the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. That's live at 3 Eastern, 2 Central next Saturday, an arena final. Another 10 on that pesky left lane. Mark Roth, who will be up next, is staying loose off to our right. That's the pinfall you've been hearing. All clean thus far, passing the halfway point of the very first game of the IOF Foresters Open. 45,000 to the winner, 25 to the runner-up, 15 for third, 10 fourth, fifth, 8. In other words, the loser of this game will get 8,000.
Melissa likes the action. His husband, David, just rips the rack on which seems to be the easier of the 2 lanes. As you observe, Chris, the right-hand lane, lane 12, in this 60-lane center. 11 seems to be the key to victory. Let's see what Traber can do here in the 7th. Leads by 9, can make it 19.
Second double of the match, our first game. We'll be back to bring you the final portions of it in a moment. Now this would be your view from inside Toronto's Royal Ontario Museum looking out. Here's a look from outside.
Oh, hi. What do you have? Myself, I have the goulash, I have the fries, I have the cheesecake, and now I'll have the Tums. Tums have calcium.
Many antacids don't. These have aluminum and magnesium. So do these. Tums helps knock out heartburn and gives you calcium.
Something your body needs anyway. So what do you have? Have the goulash, have the fries, have the cheesecake, and have...
Tums, 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 Tums.
Watch the legends team up to battle the TPC Stadium course at PGA West. Don't miss the Liberty Mutual Legends live on ABC.
Athlete's foot is a predator. To cure it all, you've got to kill it all. Today, there's Lotramin AF spray and powder with full prescription strength medicine that kills all causes of athlete's foot. Lotramin AF, the killer cure.
Yamaguchi, Petrenko, Vitt, and Wiley in special performances of the Fresh Look World Challenge of Champions. Next on ABC's Wide World of Sports.
I'm Chris Schenkel. This is Bo Burton. We're in Toronto, which is sort of the heartbeat of all of Canada. It is, for sure, its largest city, Bo.
It's a beautiful town, cosmopolitan town, and very clean, and obviously had a great turnout this week, and we're ready for the last 3 frames of this key match, partner.
Okay. David Traber and Mike Miller. Mike, whose sister, Dana Miller-Mackey, is a multi-titleist on the Lady Professional Bowlers Tour.
Dad Gubb occasionally bowls the Seniors Tour. Now the man with the big strike ball trails by 19.
Now one of bowling's all-time greats. Here he is, Mike Albee.
Thanks, Chris. Mark Roth, 7 years, 4-time Player of the Year. Where have you been? How'd you sleep last night?
Well, I've been, struggling a little bit. I've had some, physical problems, and slept pretty good last night. But, get to the show, you're always a little bit nervous. If you're not, there's something wrong with you.
He's hungry, Chris.
Between them, 55 PBA titles. 33 for Mark, 22 for Mike.
Key shot for Miller right here. Big time.
So that cuts David Traber's lead to 9 pins, and he is up with a double working shooting in the 8th frame.
The PBA's new Iron Man, 70 tournaments in a row. David Traber has bowled, a far cry from Harry Sullen's record of 239. 8th frame.
3 in a row for Traber. He is tough.
Well, he puts a little saw job on the rack there in the 6th frame, and then again in the 8th frame on the right-hand lane, which seems to favor any player, whether it's the big hook ball of Miller or the down and in shot of Traber. And the advantage slightly as Miller looks on to Traber because he gets to finish on the right-hand lane if it comes down to key shots. If we take Traber off the sheet, he would be 257. Miller, possible 238.
All right, tonight, get ready for a spring fling, the ABC family movie. Joyce DeWitt and Jason Hervey star in the wildest spring getaway of the season. Then, Jeff Fahey stars in an all-new episode of The Marshal. All tonight, starting at 8, 7 Central Time, ABC.
Must time for Mike Miller here. Has to throw strikes in the next 2 balls.
Go get him, Scout.
Wow. You know, Chris, I think if I got that many revolutions, about 18 on a bowling ball like that, and hit the 1-3, I would expect a strike. As you see Mike Miller from the side, that tremendous wrist action, hand curl underneath the ball, does not get the break on the 10. And right now, he's in trouble.
And with 2 PBA titles, big fan of hi-fi equipment, wants to own a store in the future.
Good idea.
We'll go be a customer, won't we, both?
Well, I would.
Yeah.
I like his style, too, Chris. It's something to think about, especially for the younger players. If you're strong enough, you got to do some weightlifting to keep your body strong. But this thumbless style is not so bad, especially if he can put it right there. He gives himself a chance. If he can strike on the next ball, he'll be in the 2 teens and make David Traber at least show up for the 10th. Let's look at Miller one more time how he does it. He actually uses 3 fingers. He uses the middle finger, ring finger, and the baby finger, supports it with the index finger. Very strong. He said weightlifting was one of the keys to this style, but has allowed him to perform on the tour. Shreds the rack on that one.
Does a little curtsy to the crowd after that very impressive strike, but...
Well, with one more strike, he would finish with 217. Not a bad game, but right now he would just only force David Traber to get 7 pins on the first ball. Look at this style one more time, because this man will be back more this year possibly and in years to come. Dave Traber just needs to get 7 pins on this ball, and he wins and goes on to meet the great one, Mark Roth. When you need just 7, don't mess around. Go right for the pocket. You can't afford to go through the nose or even a bucket. Just think about strike. That's enough.
So he is the winner, David Traber. He seeks his 2nd title of 1995. Going to go along with his win in Baltimore. Way to the left of center now. Cross lane.
Here's the ball hitting the thumb hole on that spare shot. And you'll see that from many of the top pros today, Walter Ray Williams and so forth. It's just a good technique. Kill the ball. All that you need is accuracy for single pin spares.
236 for Traber. For Miller, a 215. Mark Roth is up next. This ABC Sports presentation of the PBT will continue after these messages. And from our ABC stations.
America's greatest horse race, the Kentucky Derby, May 6th on ABC.
This spring, Napa is celebrating its 70th anniversary with low prices on some great parts and accessories. Pick up Napa motor oil for only 89 cents a quart, a Napa lawn and garden battery just $17.99. Or buy Napa SensaTrack shocks or struts and get 60 minutes of free long-distance calling. So stop into Napa soon, your complete auto parts source since 1925.
We keep America running. We keep America running.
Dad?
Yeah?
There's something I want to tell you.
What is it, son?
Well, Dad, you're my dad. And I love you, man.
You're not getting my Bud Light, Johnny.
For the great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light.
Ray, forget it, Johnny.
Distinctive, comfortable clothing fits today's active and demanding lifestyle. Add fashion, quality, and flair, and you've got PBA Tour Apparel. PBA Tour Apparel, made in America, is clearly the choice of champions, like PBA Player of the Year, Norm Duke. Activewear with American-made quality and style and recognizable value. Call 1-800-521-5212 to place your order for PBA Tour Apparel or your free catalog. PBA Tour Apparel by King Louis, the striking difference.
Sunday. I promise you I will not disappear. Has Clark hung up his cape for Lois, or has someone taken the super out of Superman? I just don't care.
Harry's just been kidnapped.
Lois, don't have a stroke. What do you think police are for? A new Lois and Clark, Sunday on ABC.
During the Dodge National Best Buy sale, just equip Dodge Neon with extras like these. Not only will you be saying hi to Consumer's Digest 95 Best Buy, you could also say hello to up to $1,200 off, including up to $600 cash savings to use towards your down payment, or select 4.9% financing instead of the cash savings. The Dodge National Best Buy sale. See the friendly Dodge dealer near you.
Tired of the same reruns on TV? Then get out and have some real fun at Red Crown Bowling Center. There's fun for the entire family, like Rock and Bowl every Friday and Saturday night. Children's birthday parties with bumper bowling. The Bowl and Brew Lounge for Mom and Dad. A great snack bar for the kids. The fun never stops. Don't forget to ask about their special senior citizens rate. Red Crown Bowling Center, where there's a good time every day of the week. Located at 2471 Sycamore, that's right behind Fluorescent Supply on Paxton Street.
The woman who confessed to drowning her babies. Molested? Watch Inside Edition.
ABC Sports coverage of the Professional Bowlers Tour, brought to you by Bud Light. If you want great taste that won't fill you up and never lets you down, make it a Bud Light. Napa Auto Parts, we keep America running. And new and improved Head & Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes.
Here in Ontario, Canada, our first match was won by David Traber of Illinois with 7 strikes, 236 to Mike Miller's 215. 34th season of our Professional Bowlers Association telecasts. And for Mark Roth, who is in this next match, it's his 105th telecast. 33 titles, so he's been a big part of our lives, Bo.
Chris, 52 years have been around the sport. He's one of the top 5 of all time in the sport. And he has a style that just transcends years and years. As he's getting ready to come up in the next match, let's look at his style years ago. This is 15 years ago, the style of Mark Roth, the very high backswing, almost parallel to the floor. It's, once again, the 7-step delivery, the good solid pivot step. Now, as you look at that perpendicular swing, now back to what is much more parallel to the floor. Mark Roth has shortened his backswing. This is 15 years later. This is today. Still has the 7-step delivery, everything in real good position. It'll be interesting to see how he performs, Chris, in his first appearance in 7 years.
Listen to that applause, welcoming 44-year-old Mark Roth. His birthday was on Monday. In here, his last win was 1987 in Buffalo. Last TV was 1988, where he was 3rd in Indy. Traber.
David Traber, who's had a hot hand this year with a win, a 2nd place. He's got a victory already today. Has never, ever played against a player like Roth. Here he on the opening frame on what we know is a little more difficult lane, the left-hand lane. He hits high and leaves the 3-6 spare.
Wall Township, New Jersey. U.S. Open champion in 1984, Mark Roth. Oh, yes. Mixing it up, Nelson.
Like he's never left the scene, partner. 7 years since he's thrown a ball in a championship round, and I'll tell you what, one of the most feared men ever to step on the lanes. He won so many titles, Chris, I believe, by just the other players messing up. And I don't know if Traber feels it, but if Roth starts with an opening double, look out, Dave Traber. Here we go. Key shot, actually, for Roth in the early going.
Here's a third seat in Buffalo. Made something out of it, too. All right.
Just patented Mark Roth strikes to start off. Just saws the rack, both the first and second frames. Let's see how Traber reacts.
Very positively. All right, once again to Mike Albee.
Thanks, Chris. Mike, you're a very versatile player. You used your thumb all week. You went thumbless today. How come?
Well, I just didn't like what I had. The other way, I felt more comfortable with my thumb out. So, you know, just whatever I feel most confident with, that's what I'm going to do.
He's one of the most versatile players we got, Chris.
Mm-hmm. Thanks, guys.
And that's the name of the game today, Chris. If you look at the top players, Duke, Walter Ray, Miller, versatility.
Boy, what response by David Traber as he's going against the Hall of Famer Mark Roth, who's back up and ready. There's a three-bagger for Mark Roth. One of the millionaires, three of them in this field today. And there you get a good look at the leader, Pete Weber, Holman, then Albee, our sideline interviewer today, Walter Ray, who's our tournament leader, then Mark Roth, number 5.
A lot of that money made back in the late 60s and early 70s spent pretty well. That $1.4 million is probably about 2.8. Extrapolate a few numbers in there. Roth perfect through 3 frames. See if he can get it 4 in a row.
Brian Voss in the field. We're in Markham, Ontario, suburb of colorful Toronto. And here is the province of Ontario's Parliament.
You know, Linda's been my barber, stylist for years. Months. And a while back, she told me.
Stop squirming.
No. She said I should do something about my flakes. I said, get a new barber? She said, get new Head and Shoulders. I said, you're serious? She said, yeah. Now it has Micro D, which fights flakes better without stripping your hair of the oils it needs. So my hair feels no flakes. And I owe it all to my stylist.
New Head and Shoulders, because great hair can't have flakes.
Monroe developed Sensatrack shocks to smooth out the road for a comfortable ride. But Sensatrack doesn't stop there. It's the only shock that also gives you extra control when you need it most. Sensatrack shocks and struts, only by Monroe. For comfort and control. Get Sensatrack shocks. Call 1-800-STRUT now for a Monroe ride expert near you.
Our country's best take on the world's elite, plus a special performance by Olympic champion Oksana Bayul. It's the Hershey's Kisses International Challenge, Sunday on ABC.
Standing room only crowd at the Club 300 Bowl. David Traber put together 3 in a row, and he better, because his opponent, the Hall of Famer Mark Roth, has 4 in a row. This our second game. Traber getting into it by defeating Mike Miller, 236-215.
Traber with one of the interesting statistics in championship round play. In his 12 championship rounds, he's either won the tournament, or was defeated by the tournament winner. Pretty interesting. Think about that. 12 times he either won the tournament or the man that defeated him won the tournament. Right now he can even this match up, 5th frame.
A 7. And Brian Voss is warming up off to our right.
A little bit too much speed right here from David Traber as the 5-pin just has the action over behind the 7. Headpin takes it out, doesn't give it a chance to happen.
David Traber, a very, very cool performer. Roth, 5th frame, 4 in a row.
Always had hand trouble, patches it up, spreads the index finger, cocks the wrist. Things haven't changed in 20 years. Still one of the best.
5 in a row. How about that, Mike Albee?
Some great shots by Mark. Brian Voss here with me. Brian, 94 Japan Cup winner. I haven't made the top 24, let alone the top 5 until now. Where you been?
Well, I suffered a herniated disc at the last summer, and that was like a 4 or 5 month setback. You know, I not only lost a lot of practice, but I wasn't in competition. When you start doing that, you know, you lose confidence, but it's been a good week.
It's going real well, up and down week for him, but he finished strong, and I think he's going to carry it into today.
Okay. Here's a man who's quickly regaining his confidence if it was ever lost. Mark Roth.
I know there are a lot of people, television audience, and those here that were hoping for 12 in a row.
Here's Roth. Watch the great arm swing. Inside out swing, wrist behind the ball. Solid 10. After starting with 5 in a row. Roth missed a 10-pin last about 1967.
Good line, Nelson.
Dick Weber and Mark Roth, best 2 spare and split shooters I've ever seen. Here we go. Traber still in the match, trails by 20, spare up 5th frame. Coming up in the 6th on the right-hand lane, the better of the 2.
Disappointment, leaving the 10 on the right. Incidentally, Mike Albee finished 7th in this championship. John Mazza, 6th. Winner to meet Brian Voss, and then win the semifinal to go against Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Sparkling field. Seventh frame strike for David Traber, who won the first match over Mike Miller, 236 to 215. We will return to Ontario.
Splitfire won a United States patent. It's clearly different, but is it really better? Some of the toughest judges in the nation conducted trials and published their verdicts. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs. A 4.8% gain in mileage. Quicker in the quarter mile. There's nothing like a Splitfire. You'll get more power and more mileage, guaranteed. You'll get it all for your money back.
McDonald's presents the greatest matchup in basketball, Charles and Taz. Sylvester and Wowie? Wowie and Wowie?
Collect all the matchups on McDonald's NBA Looney Tunes All-Star Cups. Buy any extra value meal and for 39 cents more, supersize it and get a free cup for a limited time. Break for yours today.
Wedgie and Woldwater? Gracious, Michael?
I thought you retired. McDonald's NBA Looney Tunes All-Star Showdown Cups.
There's double the action when golf senior stars pair up in their tour's only team competition. The Liberty Mutual Legends of Golf begins next Saturday on ABC.
Our tournament leader continues to stay loose. Walter Ray Williams, Jr., president of the PBA, 15 titles. Our field with a total of 66 today, 33 of them by this man.
Mock leads by 21, 7th frame. He started with 5 strikes in a row and left a solid 10 in the 6th.
Two.
Not so bad. You know, when you can throw an errant shot and get away with a fairly easy spare, you're in the driver's seat. He sends it wide, perceivably wider than the other shots he had on his right-hand lane. Almost leaves the 2-8, the good pin action, and gets away with an easy spare. The man I said is one of the best spare shooters of all time will hit this right in the face.
And unquestionably, the #1 New York Rangers fan. How is he happy with that World Championship?
Roth with a lot of records, 33 titles. Anthony has the most at 41. But I think is probably the most impressive thing about Mark Roth is that one time he had 51 consecutive cashes on the tour, missed by 2 pins the next tournament, and then went 20 more. So by 2 pins, he avoided cashing in 72 consecutive pro tournaments. That's over 2 years.
Jackie and Mark, parents to a lovely 12-year-old daughter named Stephanie, who has all her buddies over, watching Dad bowl against David Traber.
There's Irene Teisel, who has been so wonderful with the Independent Order of Foresters, the Public Relations Director. Has helped build this into a wonderful tournament as we see Traber up in the 8th frame key shot.
And with that double, separates them now by only 10 pins.
It's up for grabs. Let's take it off the sheet for both players. Traber, possible 258. Mark Roth, 268. Big numbers. It's who can strike in the last 2 frames. Dave Traber's wife, Melissa, who travels with him in a motorhome out here on the tour, rooting for this shot. This is the big one in the match. Put some pressure on Roth.
Again, a 10 pin on the left lane.
Dave Traber's main weapon in his arsenal is speed and speed control. On the 2 10 pins he's left on the left-hand lane, he just threw the ball a little bit too hard, didn't finish enough to carry.
All right. 187 through 8, spare up in the 9th, and Mark Roth now with a strike in the 8th, shooting in the 9th.
Always been a good closer, and this is where he needs his big shot in the 9th frame. He can avoid any pressure in the 10th with a strike here.
Mark Roth strike.
Typical Mark Roth strike. I used to say it years ago. He said, if I hit one light in a key shot in a key spot today, Bo, say this: feathers to 5, splices to 6, saws to 7, tomahawks to 10, and nothing left but pin shrapnel. And that's what he did there as he comes up in the 10th frame, needing just his first name to win the match, A. Mark.
Again at 2.
Looks at the scoreboard. Spare Mark will be in the 240s. It'll shut out David Traber. Mark, who uses very tight finger holes, a very tight thumb hole, has always had hand trouble, but that lets him hold the ball very loose and allows him to perform in the pressure with a good wrist action. Only needs to knock over this single pin to win the match and go on to meet Brian Voss in the semifinal. Okay, just stay behind the foul line.
Really covered it. All of it.
Needs 1 pin.
What are the odds on that, though?
Of him getting 1 is very difficult, Chris. If getting more than 1, the odds are very good.
You got it.
1 pin, I don't believe he'll get 1. I'm going to say minimum 8.
Left lane.
And make sure to stay behind the foul line. Synthetic lanes this week. Every once in a while, you have to watch the approaches.
He got the 10th. Here, he got the left lane, rather. 247. Big victory for Mark Roth. Disappointing loss for David Traber, who won the first match 236 to Mike Miller's 215.
An experience for Traber. He bowled well.
Yes, he did. And continues to. So it'll be 10,000 for Traber.
Be in the 230s.
Okay. From now on, it's nothing but Hall of Famers. Mark Roth, Brian Voss, Walter Ray Williams Jr. will be inducted Monday in Chicago. Okay, the Choice Hotels tip of the week features an approach change from John Handegard. Here it is.
ABC Sports presents a winning never gets old bowling tip. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotel.
With me is the most prolific champion on the PBA Seniors Tour, John Handegard. And John, you and I have bowled together for more than 3 decades. And what is the biggest physical change you've seen in the game over that period of time?
Well, years ago, we were taught, for example, to have the ball in the first step out in front, second step straight down. In the third step, it went back, and the fourth step was a slide. The modern player gets the ball into motion much earlier. If you notice in this sequence here, I get the ball moving a little earlier at this point, and when the second step hits the floor, the ball is already past the hip. That frees up the arm swing, lets your legs work nice, increases your ball speed, which gives you more impact at the pin.
Well, you look just super there, John, and obviously you've made this change in your career, and all of you players can make that change, especially you seniors, to get more ball speed. And remember, winning never gets old.
Look for future ABC Sports winning never gets old bowling tips. Brought to you by Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
There are gut balls and gutter balls. And sometimes the trophy falls. But no matter what, you'll love the bowlers who have it all on ABC Sports Home Video, Bowling the Perfect Game. Call 1-800-4ABC-VCR to order bowling's colorful history. Narrated by Chris Schenkel and Nelson Burton Jr. This collector's home video can be yours to enjoy for only $14.98 plus $3.95 shipping. That's 1-800-4ABC-VCR.
You know, winning never gets old, and neither does saving money. If you're 50 or over, just call 1-800-4CHOICE to reserve a room in any Quality, Comfort, Clarion, or Sleep Hotel. And you can save 30% off the price of your room. That number again, 1-800-4CHOICE. Perfect.
Travelers 50 and over save 30% at Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep Hotels.
The legends team up to battle the TPC Stadium course at PGA West. Don't miss the Liberty Mutual Legends live on ABC.
Start a project with Minwax Wood Finish and turn new into treasured, second-hand into first-rate, ordinary into extraordinary. Because Minwax Wood Finish makes it easy to turn any project into a beautiful masterpiece. Minwax makes wood beautiful.
When traffic congestion changes, the threats to your car's engine change. That's why Quaker State has engineered intelligent oil. Oil that senses the changing threats in your engine and adapts its own molecular structure for continuous protection. So whenever the driving conditions change, so does Quaker State, the intelligent oil for longer engine life.
Now you can change to the intelligent oil and save $3.60 on a case of Quaker State. See store display for details.
All right, 2 matches. Traber winning the first 236, losing the second with a 236 to Mark Roth. That's right, Mark Roth. 8 strikes, shooting a big 247, and Brian Voss, the next opponent. Max Burdick, Vice President of the Children's Miracle Network.
They do such a wonderful job here, Chris, every year, and it's always had a stellar field for the championship round and in the top 24. As we look at some of the players that graced that field this week in a warm-up for the Brunswick Tournament of Champions, there's our defending champion, Mike Edwards. Jason Couch could saw him up. Bud Parker Bone III. Solid player Doug Kent. Paul Kaler, we saw him with 16 strikes in a row last week in the U.S. Open. Brian Goebel, one of the top-ranked players in the world. Rockin' Ryan Schaefer. His sister Karen plays on the LPBT Tour. Marshall Holman. Rich Abood, last spot in the Tournament of Champions next week. The big guy, big bad Dennis Jakes. Rounding out the top 24, Don Johnson's son, Jimmy.
And the big one next week, 14th stop, the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. A field of 59 plus 5.
5 international players, Chris, to be determined in a roll-off in the Chicago area, and they will grace the field as we expand the field of the Firestone from, at once was 48 and 52, now out to 64, and I think it will be, I'm saying the Firestone, the Brunswick Tournament of Champions, formerly the Firestone. It will grace that field. Now here's a man who is locked into it, bowling in the semifinal.
High hit on the left lane, the 3-6-10. Mark has earned $8,870 this year. Brian Voss, $7,570. So even the loser of this game will come up with more money than that. $15,000.
Well, Roth on the comeback trail. Voss just off to a slow start this year. He's historically a slow starter, and he's had some injury problems, but he's back in shape in time for the big money.
Two of the all-timers head-to-head to be followed by another one, Walter Ray Williams Jr., and all members of the Brunswick staff.
One of our sponsors on the tour. Now here's Voss, who is really one of the great technicians of the game. Classic style, physically tremendously strong, but he's so smooth.
Leaving a 10.
Here's a nice smooth opening shot by Voss, who plays a little bit more hook than his opponent Mark Roth. Doesn't get the love tap on the 10. Players at this level seldom, if ever, will miss a corner pin on the right-hand side. But a good thing I qualified it. Missed a 10 pin to give Roth a tremendous opening in the early frame. Look at Voss. Stands up on the foul line, just lets it slide by the 10 pin, about 1/8 of an inch. And boy, does that make your blood pressure rise. Not only is it a little bit embarrassing, puts you in arrears in the early going, and you got a 33-time titleist sitting down on the chair behind you.
All right, our scout came over and took out that 10-pin bow in the second frame for Brian Voss.
Could have gotten this type of action in the first frame. Didn't happen. The head pin goes to the left sideboard, kicks off the sideboard, takes out the 10. The previous frame had got lost in the left-hand channel, and he went on to miss the 10 pin. Now let's see if Roth can get it going in the second game.
Another 2 for Mark.
People always ask me, what makes Roth so good? First place, Chris, I think in sports, as you see his style, you cannot beat the natural. Some people are just born to do something. Roth, born to bowl. But another thing is his great rhythm of his approach and that tremendously smooth and straight inside arm swing.
All right. Here's Mike Albee.
Thanks, Chris. Dave, couple 10 pins from moving on. Any intimidation factor from the crowd being so overwhelmingly favored of Mark?
Oh, no, they should be. I mean, Mark is just a great bowler. I tell you, it was a pleasure just being on the show bowling against him. And if anybody you can lose to is somebody like that has so many titles and so much talent that you learned to watch when you were young and watching TV, I mean, it was just great.
Good week for Dave Traber.
Very kind statements also.
Leaving a 4-pin, and David Traber's stock has gone up. Not that it wasn't up high already. What a great comment to make about Mark Roth.
I agree, Chris, as Mark Roth avoids the 4-9 split here in the third frame. Been a little shaky starting this semifinal match. He goes high on the left-hand lane, leaves the 3-6-10, then he sends a little wide on the right-hand lane, then he kind of tugs that ball, so he needs to get going because lurking is Brian Voss.
Mark shaking his head and didn't like what happened in that frame. Now, with a strike up, Brian can take a 1-pin lead. Open frame and a double and a 1-pin lead in our semifinal game.
Here's the man who learned to bowl at his dad's bowling center in Anchorage, Alaska. Just a classic style, Brian Voss. Look at everything in perfect position. Look at this. Now watch the action of his left arm as he comes through, pulls his right shoulder just in line with the target. And that's the kind of style, if you have a young child and want to teach him to be great, emulate that. Everything square to target. Sometimes you can almost roll them too well. He knows this is 3 in a row. He knows it's 3 in a row. However, all the pins didn't get the message. Struggled with the 10-pin in the first frame, missing it slightly to the left. Let's see what he does here in the fourth.
Sent a verbal message to the pin as well. And all even is our match here in Ontario. Toronto's Chinatown is a must-see if you're visiting Toronto. Why not have a bite while you're at it?
Hey, want to try new Pert Plus?
Pert Plus? No way. I tried it years ago. My hair needs a separate conditioner.
It's changed. This new stuff cleans and conditions better than back then.
But it's still a shampoo and conditioner in one. And I don't like it.
Wrong. It's a shampoo and precise blend of conditioners. Individually balanced for every kind of hair.
Conditioners?
Yes, they condition exactly where you need them most.
A 2-in-1 does that? We'll see. Well, it is actually better. I can feel it.
New Pert Plus in 5 precise new formulas. One's right for your hair.
It's a lot better. Really.
Athlete's foot is the predator. To cure it all, you've got to kill it all. Today, there's Lotramin AF spray and powder with full prescription strength medicine that kills all causes of athlete's foot. Lotramin AF, the killer cure.
Their talent transcended sport. Now, a revealing look at Katarina Witt and Nadja Comaneci when Nike presents A Passion to Play, Sunday on ABC.
Ah, that little fellow to the left of Club 300. Happy Easter to everyone. Tomorrow.
Mark Roth, fourth frame, match even. Opponent is Brian Voss.
Enough to shake your hand.
Roth looking at a couple of things. First time he accelerates his arm swing, which is his trademark on that particular shot, but he shot a bad rack, Chris. I looked down there as the ball was entering the pocket. The 3-pin was a little tight. Mark not recognizing that. Something had just kind of slipped by him. He would have normally carried the 10 if that 3-pin had been just a little bit wider. He was entitled to a re-rack, didn't take it. Now he must settle for the spare.
Checking out the soles of his bowling shoes. Excuse me. Next up, the tournament leader, Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
Think about this field, these last 3 players. Among them, 62 titles, 230 TV appearances, and 7 Player of the Year awards. How about this? And here's the man that leads them all, Mark Roth. Right now, he trails in the match with Brian Voss by 1 pin semifinal.
Again, that 2-pin. I think more 2s than I've ever seen.
I agree, Chris. They don't want to go high. Roth making a little adjustment on the left-hand lane. We noticed in the first match that it was the key to victory. Roth hit it very well in the second game. We have a little oil carry down on the synthetic lanes. Mark's been a little high, a little light. Just needs another shot to feather it in there. Hopefully he's still close in the match, which he will be, as Voss has not zeroed himself.
Coming up next on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Christy Yamaguchi, Victor Petrenko, and a galaxy of skating stars take the ice. It's the grand finale of the Fresh Look World Challenge of Champions Plus, a key prep race for the Kentucky Derby as NASDAQ presents the Wood Memorial. A Canadian horse, Talkin' Man, may be the favorite. Ryan jumped on that one. All spares, 6 frames. Excuse me, he had a double second and third and a strike in the 5th.
Chris, the point that we've always noticed with Brian Voss is not only his main weapon is his physical strength, he's such a good, patient player. Doesn't try to force things. He's shown that so far in this match. He's had every ball around the pocket for 5 frames, hasn't panicked, and he only leads by 2. However, with a double here, he can make it 12.
And it was the 10-pin in the first frame that he missed on an open that came right back with a double.
Just got ripped in the last 2 shots in this, right? I tell you what, when one round object hits another round object, they don't exactly, in sport of bowling, react the same every time. Voss has paid the penalty in the 4th and 6th frames with near perfect hits and only has the 12 more to spare.
Bit of a wry grin. You got that 10, didn't you? Mm-hmm. Butch Soper, our statistician, as usual today. Paid some money.
Well, Roth with a reprieve. Hasn't struck in 5 consecutive frames, and he's still in the match.
At 8 strikes in his victory over Traber, 247 to 236. Here's another winner, Mike Albee.
Thank you. Walter, 15 out of 16 match play victories yesterday. Good omen to lose that last one or not?
I don't think it really matters, but I don't know, having a streak like that's pretty hard to overcome sometimes. But I've been bowling pretty well this week. I'm looking good. I'm looking forward to whoever I bowl this next match.
All player of the year's left. 1 match for Walter.
Mark Roth. Strike up. Oh, the king of the 7-10 conversions. He took out the 10 both, so it's single 7.
Well, he could make the 7-10, as we well know. As you see him hitting light in the pocket, it really makes a good adjustment. He's been around the hole, and then puts all he can get on the ball, straightens the shot out, and just doesn't get a break. As the pins go flying around, Mark Roth with a spare in the 7th will only trail by 2. Interesting match.
It's the semifinal of the IOF Foresters Open, Markham, Ontario, suburb of Toronto. Here's a bird's eye view of Lake Ontario. Take a look at it from downtown Toronto.
For years of beauty, protect your wood floors, furniture, and more with Minwax polyurethane. Minwax contains pure urethane oil for a beautiful finish, tough enough to handle years of heavy traffic. Minwax makes and keeps wood beautiful.
Watch the legends team up to battle the TPC Stadium course at PGA West. Don't miss the Liberty Mutual Legends live on ABC.
We're at McDonald All-Star Showdown. Sylvester is surrounded. He breaks through. He scores. Let's see that in slow-mo.
McBacon Deluxe.
Make way for Michael Jordan's McBacon Deluxe. 2 all-beef patties topped with savory bacon. It's McDonald's Taste of the Month for a limited time.
Sure is.
Michael Jordan's McBacon Deluxe.
Have you had your break today?
Sunday, pop in for 9 hours of America's Funniest Home Videos. Nah, it's only 1 hour, but wouldn't 9 hours be great? Or 9 lives in some cases, Sunday on ABC.
All right, let's see how Voss is attacking the championship pair here. He's going to try to hit that right around the 2nd arrow. He's playing more hook than the other players. It has not been rewarded as he has left his 4th 10-pin, and as our statistician Butch Soper observed, Mark Roth has really been lucky that he's still in the match. Voss could have started with 7 strikes in a row, yet with this conversion, he'll only have a 1-pin lead with 3 frames remaining. This is the lane he missed the 10-pin on in the opening shot.
Andrea in Atlanta, his charming wife, just probably sighing. And with her friends, hoping that Brian can hang on. And Jackie, Mark's wife, is saying the same thing in New Jersey. What a match, Bo.
You're right. And if we have a tie match, Chris, which we haven't had this year, as Roth studies it, that favors Brian Voss. He's had 2 ties in his life. He won his first title with a 39-29 victory over Pete McCordy back in Detroit after tying at 176. He won the National that way.
Mike Albee mentioned that Walter Ray had won 15 of 16 match play games. The only man to defeat him was Brian Voss, 244 to 218.
PBA format features 12 games on Wednesday, 14 on Thursday, and 16 on Friday. Total them up, it's 42 games. For Mark Roth, this is his 44th.
2 and sleeper 8. 8th frame shot.
Roth will need all his spare-making ability and his experience to bail out this match. For this spare, Mark Roth needs to get the ball right by the 2-pin, let the 2 and 8 carry together. If he makes a spare, he'll still trail Voss by 3 pins after 8 frames. This is a tough spare on synthetic lanes. Crossing the center of the lane, a little bit more oil in the center. Sometimes it'll slide by or hang.
All right. Mark looking up there. And we have to remind you, the next Saturday on ABC Sports, Professional Bowlers Tour blows into the Windy City for our season's grand finale. That's right. It's the Brunswick World Tournament of Champions. Be good to see Jack Reichert, all the Brunswick folks. Nothing but winners.
I agree, Chris. As you said, too, 5 international players in the field, 59 pros.
Ninth frame strike for Mark Roth in the semifinal game.
Foundation frame, Roth, knowing this is match game competition, puts the putty to that one and just saws the rack. Puts a little squeeze on Voss, who can actually shut out Roth if he takes it off the sheet with a 227. Best Mark can do is 214. But Voss has not been able to string any strikes together.
There's a 7 on the right lane.
Well, Voss, this game here, if you look at the game, has just absolutely been hosed 5 shots. He's had every ball in the pocket, 4 strikes, 5 other powerful balls that did not produce strikes, 4 10-pins and a 7, and the match is up for grabs.
Many of the bowlers are already in the Chicago area for the Brunswick Tournament of Champions. Johnny Campos, our tournament director, he's going to stop by Peoria because he and Janine have a young son named Andre who will be 2 tomorrow. Happy birthday, Andre.
For Brian Voss, as he stands up the 10th frame semifinal game, if he strikes out 207th, he would force Roth to throw 2 strikes. It's who can strike at the 10th. Here we go.
I don't blame you.
Christopher, 21 years together, I've never seen a game this low with so many good shots to the hole. Brian Voss is not going to shoot 200. It doesn't mean he's going to lose the match, but with a spare and a good count, he'll force Roth to double.
Remember, Brian started with that open frame, missing a 10-pin. What a day for Brian.
We've had 14 10-pins so far, Chris, in the 6 games that we're finishing up the 6 games, 3 matches. And, you know, historically, we remember that Pete Weber a few years back, even when he won the tournament here, had a lot of 10-pins. So maybe it's just the characteristic of this championship fair. For right now, for Brian Voss, 8, 9, or 10 count, he'll force Ross to double. All right, Mark Roth needs 1 strike to go on and bowl for his first title in 8 years. 1 strike.
Mark Roth
Mark needs one strike. Count is secondary. He'll once again only need one pin. This is the shot.
Look at that. Once a champion, always a champion. Reminds me of the day in this area, Nelson, that Eddie Arcaro and I, Eddie, a champion, came here to do a thoroughbred race. Secretariat was the winner's name, right here at Woodbine. And here's another one of those rare champions.
Always good front runners, good in the home stretch. Roth just needs 7 pins to go on to meet Walter Ray Williams Jr. for the title. That's it. That is enough to win the match. Winner, Mark Roth in the semifinal. A disappointed Brian Voss.
His second victory of the afternoon. Look at that. Very respectful embrace. 2 champions. This ABC Sports presentation of Professional Bowlers Tour will continue after these messages and a word from our ABC station.
I know it sounds crazy, but yeah, I took the high endurance challenge from Old Spice because I didn't really think it could work better than my old deodorant, but it does. It evaporates less quickly, it also lasts longer, protects better. Try it. If you don't think it's the best, call 1-800-PROVE-IT and they'll buy you a stick of yours. So if you still think every deodorant works the same, take the high endurance challenge from Old Spice. Because now you got proof. Guaranteed.
As I swing the proverbial hash and decant the coffee and witness the results, I am dismayed by the belief that an antacid in a spoon is somehow stronger than a tablet. Au contraire.
Dose for Dose Tums Ultra neutralizes more acid than my Lanza regular strength. And while this has aluminum and magnesium,
Tums Ultra has calcium.
Something my body needs anyway. I like that.
So if you must take your antacid in a utensil, may I suggest
Ultra.
From James Michener's epic saga of love and war comes an ABC novel for television.
Remember the Alamo.
Patrick Duffy, Chelsea Field, Rick Schroeder, Randy Travis, and Stacy Keach. Texas, Sunday on ABC.
Boscov's Countdown to Easter Sale. Magnificent Frost and Windsor Hopsack Blazers. Buy one, get one free. 2 for $159.99. In 9 great colors. All sizes including Portleys. Boscov's has men's year-round wool blend suits at 50% savings. Now 2 for $199.99. 2 blazers, 2 suits, under $360 till Easter at all Boscov's.
4-wheel drive, air conditioning, alloy wheels, power windows and door locks, AM/FM high-power stereo cassette with a clock, 4-wheel disc brakes. Isn't it nice so many amenities are standard on the Honda Passport 4-wheel drive LX? It makes all those optional extras so much easier to afford. And since the mild winter left us with a wide selection of Passports, you can get an early start on all those summer activities. So test drive the Passport at your Honda dealer.
Karen Thomas on WHTM News Center tonight at 6.
I'm Julie Moran in New York. Coming up after bowling on ABC's Wide World of Sports, Christy Yamaguchi, Victor Petrenko, Katarina Witt, and a galaxy of skating stars take the ice. It's special performances from the Fresh Look World Challenge of Champions. Plus, NASDAQ presents the Wood Memorial Live, a key Kentucky Derby prep race. That's all coming up next on Wide World of Sports. Now let's go back to bowling.
The scene is the Club 300 in Markham, Ontario. 3 matches. Traber winning the first. Yes, that's Mark Roth, 247-236. Brian Voss and Roth in the semifinal, 201-196. And now, a veteran Hall of Famer against a man that's going into the Hall of Fame on Monday night, Walter Ray Williams Jr.
Let's set the stage, Chris. Last time Mark Roth and Walter Ray met was in a championship round in 1983. And the winner of that match was Mark Roth, who went on to win the title against Ted Hannes. Now, Walter Ray gets a break that Voss didn't get in his match against Mark Roth. He leaves the half 10, but your favorite scout comes across and just nails it dead.
Mississauga is his name. Oh, a high hit. 3, 4, 6, 7, 10.
Mark, if he complains, is not a complainer. Complained a little bit about the approaches this week. He said sometimes he sticks, sometimes he slips. And one of the great split makers in the game needs to get the ball over here in this 3-6 zone and drive that 3 over into the 4-7. This is a tough shot, and you need a little luck.
So, an open frame for Mark Roth, going for his 34th PBA title. Walter Ray Williams going for his 16th.
Two of the best ever and two of the most natural players. I asked Walter Ray what he thinks about when he's bowling, and he says absolutely nothing except the feel of the shot. Boy, is that a wonderful feeling. Nothing to get in the way of that ability. Oil carry down. Anytime you see pin action like that, where the ball slides by and you almost leave an 8-10 with Ross Power reactive resin bowling balls, this is oil carry down. What I mean, there's oil in the first 35, 40 feet, and from the bowling, it carries down the lane. You see the ball skid on the pin deck, doesn't bite in the last 15 feet. There's not much you can do about it except ram the straight shot home, and that is what Walter Ray is doing in his opening shot. Advantage Williams.
Open frame spare, Mark Roth. Strike in the first frame for Walter Ray. Shooting in the second of the championship match. High hit. 4-pin. Could have been worse. All right, former president of the PBA, Mike Albee.
Thanks, Chris. Brian, tremendous showing. You bowled great. 10 pin away from obviously moving on. What can you take away from this tournament?
I can take a lot from this. You know, it's been a long time since I've been on TV. It felt real good. You know, I felt I had a chance to win this thing. I really did. But I think you can look for me next week.
He's got the right attitude. We think we will see him next week.
All right. We hope so.
Uncharacteristic shot from Walter Ray Williams Jr., and he's one of the most accurate players that ever graced the PBA Tour, and he just misses about 3 boards to the right. His target is about the second arrow, and he whips it out to about the 3rd board. Fortunately, he only ends up with a 2-pin spare.
Oh, did you know that this is the World Curling Championship weekend right here in Toronto?
I watched some of it on television, and the Canadian women are doing very well, and they defeated the Germans the other day as I was watching.
They're going for double gold, men and women. Third frame strike for Mark Roth, 3rd seed in this championship.
And for Roth, an adjustment. He struggled all 10 frames against Voss and fortunately came away with a victory. Now he has made a move on the lanes. He has moved more towards the center of the lane, playing the what we call the oil lane, not trying to get much hook towards the pocket. Let's see if he does it on the left-hand lane. This could be the secret to victory if it works on both lanes. He'd have something going for him because he struggled for the last game and a half. He's in around the 3rd arrow. Ball sets up. Looks good, Chris.
A double. Now trailing by only 2 pins. Mark Roth. Today's championship trophy. Well, it stands alongside Henry Moore's large 2-form.
Legends team up to battle the TPC Stadium course at PGA West. Don't miss the Liberty Mutual Legends live on ABC.
Yes, we can match any color.
No problem.
Customers don't want to stand around and wait. They can't get the project done waiting. Yes, we can match this color. This is your Brussels sprout green.
The faster I can finish here, the sooner he can get out. If they want that color, we do our best to get it. Bowling ball blue.
And here's your ball.
Protect your home's exterior wood with Bear Plus 10 Exterior Stain. With an incredible selection of super durable, solid, and semi-transparent colors, you'll find it at a guaranteed low price every day at the Home Depot.
You can't be sure you can meet the demand, but you can be sure you can raise your hand. You can be sure to be dry.
Sure Solid has the most effective wetness fighting ingredient you can buy, so you can be sure to be dry.
You can be sure to be dry.
Our country's best take on the world's elite, plus a special performance by Olympic champion Oksana Bayul. It's the Hershey's Kisses International Challenge, Sunday on ABC. ABC Sports coverage of the Professional Bowlers Tour, brought to you by McDonald's. Have you had your break today? Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer, the brand to trust for all your waterproofing needs. And Splitfire, the patented performance spark plug. It only costs more until you use it.
The championship match continues at the Club 300 Bowl. Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Full-frame strike with a spare working. He's going against Mark Roth. 45,000 to the winner, 25 to the runner-up.
Just a blueprint strike by Walter Ray there in the fourth frame as he opened with a strike, had a 4-pin. The only ball out of the pocket was in the third. He's come back in the fourth. A seesaw match. Right now, Williams can extend his lead to 12.
Walter Ray started Good Friday in 10th place. Then he won 15 of 16 match play games to become the tournament leader.
Let's see if the natural, with his experience, 33 titles, has made the correct move. He's moved to the inside line. He's playing all oil to the pocket, not much hook, trying to get away from that erratic ball reaction. Has gotten a double. He can cut the lead of Walter Ray's down to 2 pins.
That's sweet. Mark Roth, whose best finish this year was 9th last week in the United States Open.
Takes guts, Chris, to win as many titles as he has won, but also a lot of guts to bowl after 7 years never bowling for a championship, to win a game, then get lost, sneak by Brian Voss, and then make a tremendous big move on the lane. He's moved at least 10 boards left with his feet, about 6 with his eyes, letting that ball slide back in the pocket, and he's right back in the match. He can take the lead with a strike here in the 6th. And he caught it all, Pards.
Yes.
Let out a little shaft.
4-bagger for Mark Roth. The double up shooting in the 6th. Here is Walter Ray Williams. Two for 5.
Wow. No wrist.
You're right. No wrist. Didn't catch it all. Isn't that amazing how that happens, Walter, when you're bowling a guy with 33 titles? Walter, with a straight shot, is just going to try to get the ball to dissect the 2, 4, and 5 straight through.
And with 22 second-place finishes, last year's 7 title shows, 2 fifths, a fourth, a third, and 5 second places.
To clarify that, no wrist. A bowler must keep his hand underneath the ball and snap through the ball in an upward and inside-out motion. That's where you get the count.
Hurried.
No hold area.
Well, you see him talking to himself, no hold area, but there's also no swing area. When the ball doesn't come back, he's left the 1, 2, 8, 10 washout, needs to drive that head pin over the 10-pin zone. Walter Ray's in trouble.
2 fierce competitors, Paige Pennington, Walter Ray's fiancée.
Time for Roth to go for the juggler. He can smell it. He knows that Walter's playing that outside line that's spotty. He knows he has the lead, and he can put one big nail into Walter Ray Williams.
5 in a row. Watching, along with all of you, a devastated Walter Ray Williams, Jr. Watch this reaction.
first good break he gets in his 3 games, Chris. He drifts high, has the 2-pin go to the sideboard, trips out to 4. He will leave nothing in the bag here. Roth, a freewheeler. Watch the wrist action here. You want to see some wrist for the money? This will be some whip on this one.
And the ardent model train fan.
I tell you what.
Chugging along.
You're right, partner. And if that ball had gotten in the way of the train would have had to move on that one.
Yep.
Caught it all. Deadeye. He's been observing what Roth's done. Let's see if he moves inside.
That was a strike in the 8th frame for the president of the PBA, Walter Ray Williams, Jr.
Right now, as Walter looks at the scoreboard, 9th frame, it is absolutely impossible for Walter to win this match against Roth if he doesn't strike on this ball. He can just keep a faint glimmer of hope alive if he strikes here. If not, Roth, title 34.
Walter Ray, 4th telecast this year. He's had a 3rd, a 4th, and a 5th.
You know what? He's just got a 2nd, Chris. Yep. Mark Roth got this tournament well in hand. Oh, champ. Been a long time. Chris, a little sidebar story. We had a tremendous auction here at the tournament last night. Is Craig Charity. That's a wonderful name. Auctioned off a lot of the players, bowling balls, and equipment, and raised over $3,000 for the Children's Miracle Network. As we watch this fella take a victory lap in title number 34.
All this in the Independent Order of Foresters Championship and Fraternal Organization, more than 1 million members, headquartered in Toronto.
Question I'd like to ask Mark Roth, if he dreams starting 1995 that the newspaper headlines tomorrow will read, "Roth is back, wins title 34." I don't know if even he would believe that.
Well, sort of timely to go along with his favorite team's world championship, the New York Rangers.
Yeah, you can pass the puck in that sport, pal.
That's right.
There's no passing that bowling ball. It's all your own ability, what God gave you and what you've worked on. This man deserves every bit of it. He lost his confidence. He got his confidence back. I talked to his wife, Jackie, last night. She says Mark has been practicing, lost weight, started training, and now he's back in the winner's circle.
Mark Roth got a 247 to David Traber's 236, then a 201 to Brian Voss's 196. So 34th title.
First 33, I never saw a tear in his eye. Look at him, Chris. That's a different Mark Roth. You appreciate those victories at age 44.
It's okay now. 4, 6, 7, 10. But at this point, it doesn't matter. Mark will be in the 230s. He's $45,000 richer. We'll be back.
Today, millions of Americans are running faster with the same size engines and farther on the same amount of fuel. Millions have discovered the patented advantages of the split-fire spark plug, a difference that delivers on every stroke of every piston. 5 extra horsepower by merely installing these plugs, a 4.8% gain in mileage. If you're not running the split-fire, you're probably behind someone who is. Split-fire, more power and more mileage for your money back.
Dear Thompsons, as a contractor, I depend on Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer. Well, my crew ran out.
Found this on the truck.
They finished with another brand. Did I hear about it? Now, you can see the Thompson's working. The other side
soaks up water like a sponge.
Avoid costly mistakes. Other brands don't work like Thompson's. Some hardly work at all.
Thompson's works for me. Ray Hayes.
Also protect with Thompson's Stain, the only stain with Thompson's Water Seal Waterproofer.
McDonald's presents the greatest matchup in basketball, Charles and Taz. Sylvester and Wowie. Wowie and Wowie.
Collect all the matchups on McDonald's NBA Looney Tunes All-Star Cups. Buy any extra value meal and for 39 cents more, supersize it and get a free cup for a limited time. Break for yours today.
Wedgie and Wold Runner. Gracious, am I going Michael?
I thought you retired. McDonald's NBA Looney Tunes All-Star Showdown Cups.
You know, I'm always teaching bowlers how to put fingers into the shot, not just the ball. But you can also use your fingers to save money. If you're 50 or over, just call 1-800-4CHOICE, and you can save 30% at choice hotels like Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep. 30%. Now that's what I call aiming for the pocket.
Travelers 50 and over save 30% at Quality, Comfort, Clarion, and Sleep hotels.
All right. There you see Mark Roth at the top of the list. And the applause here in Markham, that's for you.
Well, Chris, I caught a break against Brian Voss. I mean, he hit the pocket every shot, and he wasn't able to strike, and he outstruck me 5-4. And I was lucky to throw a good one when I needed it. And I bowled against Walter Ray, and I was just confused. So I remember what your partners used to say, straight is great, so I just figured I'd go straight and hard, and I was able to swing some strikes.
Number 34.
Yeah, been a long time coming, and, the last tournament I won was up here in Toronto, so I love it up here.
$45,000. We've got Ken Hill, the International Order of Foresters here. Nice tournament, and I know you have something nice in your hand.
Well, I sure do. Congratulations, Mark, on your 34th victory. It was a fine performance. On behalf of the IOF Foresters and its over 1 million members, it's my honor to present you with a check for $45,000 U.S.
I'd like to thank IOF Foresters, a great sponsor, a great cause, and they do a great job. Thanks so much.
And for Markham, wonderful area, here is the mayor, Don Hill.
Congratulations, and the first and 7, but boy, way to go. Congratulations from the people of Markham.
Thank you.
I think Stephanie had a good party back in New Jersey, and Jackie, we got about 10 seconds.
I definitely hope so. I know I did. I had a great time, so they did.
See you at the Brunswick.
Yes. Thank you, Chris.
For everybody, I'm Chris Schenkel for Bo Burton and ABC. See you in Illinois. Goodbye. Thank you.